Let's start the streaming.
Attention, people of Earth, I have an important announcement to make.
Tony Caravan. You've been subjected to a highly sophisticated form of propaganda.
It's just what you need, and not what you don't.
Same old thing every day. Wash my hat. Wash the famous white handkerchief. Chief. Slurp the coffee. It's not as hot as it was because I had to do all these things. It tastes very hazelnutty, even though I didn't put the whipped cream in it. So I must have got a good 2 scoops. I put 3 scoops in for this carafe worth. So at least 2 of those scoops at the top of the container must have been mostly hazelnut. I said dance. The name of this is The Wild, Wild Former Western Civilization. And I just chatted dance. Now I have to bring up one thing because our friend, the legendary Tattoo, we'll call it screen capture. Don't know why, but he still uses, he's like one of these cell phone guys. I just hate smartphones. Screenshot. And this doesn't give away anything personal. So let's take a look at that. And here it is. This is a screen capture from his smartphone. Okay. He's done the right thing. He is subscribed to us, which is very nice of him. So this is yesterday's show. And what he is, the reason he did this is this, when he took this yesterday morning, of course it's showing 4 views. I don't know what it, I think actually when I had that around the same time, I was showing 3 views. It says streamed 1 day ago, but look at the date, 11/9. Now that would be fine if he would have done that today, but he didn't. He sent this to me like yesterday morning. So you see what kind of game is being played here? And you remember that's the show, right? I was wearing a different shirt, all that stuff. Yeah. So that's part of Google's game. And I replied back to the man, the legend, the one, the only. And I said, yeah, maybe that's their game. So they put me down as if it's a yesterday's broadcast. The algorithm just is set to change the date to yesterday. So then it wouldn't appear in today's live feed. And then it wouldn't be in recently updated necessarily because it would be overpowered by the things that were just updated. Right? You don't have that many choices. And of course I said, those bastards. Look at that. There's proof. See, that's the one thing about, that the powers that be don't get. By the way, here's the title card. Speaking of the powers that be. I'll just enlarge this a little bit for the sake of it. The powers that be. Dance. Right? Because this is the theme, Wild West theme, right? Wild, wild former Western civilization. And the powers that be are these guys, dance. And we, the people, of course, are, they're shooting at our feet, making us dance. And, of course, we, the people, are thinking, WTF is this idiot's frickin' problem? Right? Crazy, man. Crazy. Well, anyway, yeah, so even though it's 4:06 a.m. ET time, just 4:06 a.m. here, And it's November 10th. It's a Wednesday, hump day. Normally, that would be a good excuse to have a drink. Hump day. Let's get a drink. There's nobody here but the cat, who's hiding upstairs in the Lysol-smelling room, because I always Lysol it out in the morning and close the door and come down so the place kind of gets fumigated and cleaned up. Yesterday, I've got a couple of new parts put in my gas furnace, which this is the third part. These were the gas burner, the burner units, these like tube things. So apart from the shell of the thing, and I guess what else would be in there, it's pretty much a new, part-wise. It's, I guess, the pump that would pump the water, circulate the water through the house. So if that that's something, as long as that's in good shape. But apart from that being replaced, it's basically a brand new gas furnace. But the thing is, the house isn't exactly hot. And so what we're going to do is we're going to...
The Weather Watch forecast.
Because this is important, and yes, this is the 10th. This was recently taken this morning. Now, there's some crazy weather events happening, and I thought I would give you a heads up. And it's in terms of early snow and like major amounts of snow. So what I was saying is that even though, looking at my current temperature here, it's 46 degrees outside my studio, as I call it. I got some kind of like, Apple changed this. I've got the old operating system because they don't let you update to the new one because they want you to buy a new machine. Now, I don't know if this is trying to say that it's 54 degrees outside or not. And it's one of those days when the temperature drops. This doesn't make sense. So it's saying it's now 54 degrees. It's 6 a.m. It's going to be 50. Sunrise is around approximately 7 a.m. But then it's going to be 48 degrees at 7 a.m. But instead of being one of those days when the temperature keeps dropping, it says it's going to go up to 57 today. There is no logic in that after sunrise, the temperature see, what happens is usually after sunrise, the temperature like inches up. So I can't even trust this. All I know is that, and they're even saying Friday sunny, and so I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. I mean, I'll tell you. Well, looking at various satellites and patterns and more factual stuff, this is an actual view of the Earth that was taken about an hour ago. So, I mean, you can't get much more accurate than that. Okay? So, you could see some lighter cloud cover in the southeast, so there's really no precipitation necessarily happening there. Now, there's some heavy-duty stuff going on as you get into, I guess it's West Virginia. It's hard to say because it's so thick. Pennsylvania is almost covered. But if you look closely at out to the west, you'll start seeing some thicker clouds, and those clouds extend into Canada, of course. Canada's getting snow. There's like some places in Canada, Winnipeg's getting like 2 feet of snow, but that's not necessarily, unusual for Winnipeg. But in the plains, we're expecting some early snowfall, and they may well be getting that now, actually. And that's going to work its way east, and the Great Lakes are still warm, just like the water. The oceans have not, turned into icy water yet. So what's going to happen is what's setting up, and it's going to take several days, is we're setting ourselves up for lake effect snow. And as that other storm from the plains works its way east into the Ohio Valley, but places like Pennsylvania, we call upstate New York, and into the Northeast, we can expect snow starting, pretty much next week is going to be our first snow. Like, in other words, snow that's on the ground, potentially shoveling snow. Because the temperature is going to start dropping on the weekend. And so Monday, Tuesday, whatever, we can look out for some snow. So anyway, as of today, just a lot of clouds on the eastern part of the former United States. The western part of the United States is just the western part of the United States. It's the plains that the focus would be on. They're having some activity. And because of some of this unrest, people in the Tornado Alley area, might experience some thunderstorms and things of that nature. Okay? Because there's a disturbance. That's a major disturbance there. You can see it. And it almost has a little spin to it. A little bit. Not much. So anyway, the forecast, what I'm trying to get at is that it's going to be cloudy. You expect snow in the plains, high elevations, the usual spots, even high in the Rockies. I've been high in the Rockies, right? So you people high in the Rockies, you can expect some snow. So you could look out and say, far out, man. And the plains, definitely the extreme, especially the northern plains, high plains drifter, as I call it. If you're one of those high plain drifter guys, you need to find yourself some shelter. And all this mess is going to work its way east, and then we're in for snow events from the Ohio Valley, mid-Atlantic states, and to the Northeast. And we'll follow up with that over the coming next 2 days or so we can figure that all out. All right? And we'll get into that.
The Weather Watch forecast.
Hey, that's that. I've got on a shirt, in case you're interested. We have a ROCKFLUX shirt. So if you just really want to just be a supporter of the channel and a promoter and a walking billboard. So I used to tell people about shirts when I was in the advertising business. I used to say, shirts are walking billboards. Just like I used to have a client who was in the sign business. And I created a term called signvertise. And I used to say, you've got this thing outside your building, and you're not realizing the potential for that. So your sign, within whatever, they have these government rules and regulations, ordinances, and, all that sort of thing about how big your sign could be and what you can do. But as long as you work within the parameters of whatever you can do, push it to that limit and make that sign. If you have a business, who has a business, if you're still in business, if you weren't kicked out, by the powers that be last year. Dance. Isn't that a great graphic? And it's like, the whole thematic show, the Wild Wild Farmer Western civilization, which is gone. We're in the former United States. Make no mistake about it. But if you're still in business, yeah, put as much effort into your sign and signage as possible, because basically it's a billboard in front of your place. I mean, without getting like too gaudy, tacky, or whatever you want to call it. I mean, you know. But then again, who cares? Anything that's going to draw attention to it. It's like no publicity is bad publicity necessarily. I mean, unless it's really, unless it's something like Weinstein's problem, But other than that, yeah. So let's go through some simple things. So since we still got into, there's so many things I've added to this show that, my coffee gets warm instead of being hot by the time I think I'm just going to get everything set up, but I have to go hunting around to find all this current, contemporary, timely information, including I had to take this picture. Now, this is my grow room. And yes, I did see a couple of those bugs. But if you recall a couple of days ago, now on the far right, you can see like some dead, brownish, fallen. Those were cilantros. But they just didn't make it. But look at the newer seeds. You see the cilantro? In fact, intermixed within, there's even one really big cilantro leaf in between these radishes. Those big leaves are radishes. And those two leaves that are extended over what's where I planted catgrass. I got to water that today. That's new. And look at we're talking serious growth. I mean, I wouldn't want to live on a diet of radishes, cilantro, and then of course you could see in this container in the foreground to the left. And I guess we're always talking stage. Are we talking stage left? See, I keep forgetting that. No, let's see. This is my right. So this is stage right. So that would be stage right. So it would be the left for you. The camera. Why can't they just show you things the right way? That's the oregano that we showed a close-up on yesterday. So yesterday it looked like huge. And it's like, no, it's really only that size. But it's still green and healthy, and despite the fact that we seem to have some of those gnats in there, the nasty gnats, they don't seem to be going after this stuff. So I still have like 10 days till I get that neem stuff that will eliminate them, and it does work. I think the flypaper comes this Friday, which will be a good, at least in the interim, the week until I get that stuff. Any of those things flying around, they'll stick to that stuff. So that'll keep the population down. Anyway, so that's this is being grown in a closet inside a walkway. You could hardly call it a porch that leads to my backyard. And I've already shown you, and I'll show you in future episodes, vlogs, that I'm currently growing kale in there. Of course, I have catnip. I do that because the cat loves catnip. I have 2 catnip plants. They're okay. They're staying alive. I've been pulling stuff off every like second or third day because I want those things to get real hardy. I'm hoping they get hardier. And I might have something else I planted in there. I forget. But, you can grow radishes grow quick, and herbs should grow. Once I solve this problem, I should be able to get these herbs growing a little bit crazier. And I'm going to maybe try again with some lettuce. And then some other kind of edible. And the idea is I'm always experimenting in here. It's wintertime. I mean, it's like not even wintertime. It's fall. Winter doesn't start for another month, more than a month. So the idea is that I live off the backyard, the outdoors. Yesterday I went outside, and let's just.
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
I'm going to do a little morning vlog thing here. We'll keep the screen up while we talk about it. So I figured yesterday was a nice day. It got up to 60-some degrees, and where the sun is, this area where I grow, my thermometer was reading 80 degrees. And like an idiot, and I was sweating. I had my hat on, and I had a shirt because the T-shirt I was wearing underneath wasn't this one, but was similar to this. Has no pockets or anything, and I needed pockets because I needed pruners and different things because I was trying to prune certain things. And I cleaned up all my garden, and I laid down cardboard, over top of the soil and had to weight it down. And I got the bulk of it done, but I did as much as I could do. And I'm going to have to wait another couple of weeks. There's still leaves on my apple trees and these alleged grapevines and this other tree that the neighbor's freaking out about. And so I can't really trim that, and I have to borrow a step ladder from a friend to get up there because I want to take the tops off of all of those things. Actually, I want to do a lot of pruning. And I still have room in my compost area to take all those pruning, sticks and stems, and they'll fit in there. And over the course of winter, they'll just, compost down. Anyway, I did that, took a shower, relaxed, and felt semi-productive. That crappy tape that I put on my ceiling, this white tape, is like peeling off. It's like weren't they putting plastic? They were selling toothpaste from China that was actually like, it had PVC in it or something. In other words, they sell you this stuff. It looks like the thing, real thing, right? Or as that the demented guy would say, the thing, the thing. But it's not. So, you got to call it out when you call it out. So you buy duct tape. Duct with a T. But this probably was duct tape, D-U-C-K, right? So they could get around the patent or something. But you buy this stuff and you expect it to stick. And the funniest thing is when you're working with it, if it touches itself or you get it on you, it's like almost impossible. So you think, this is decent tape, but you put it on the ceiling and it was like starting to peel off. So I don't know what to do. I have some good tape, but it's like brown. It's not Gorilla Tape, which is really the best I think they have. But it's kind of like that. It's some kind of heavy duty. But I wanted my ceilings white, and this plastic is white. And I put this, went through the trouble of putting that Kills, which is white, that covers the stain and, any water stains from the previous problem I had. And so I put white duct tape up there so that, it would just be pleasant. It actually, you wouldn't notice it when you walked in the room unless you really stared up and they go, oh, you got some kind of contraption up there, some Rube Goldberg device to collect potentially a leak, stop a leak. But if I put this brownish dark tape up there, it's going to be like an eyesore. Your eyes are going to go right to it. Well, who the heck comes in my bedroom anyway besides me and my cat? My chair's falling down. And something's going wrong with the wire. The wire's in the danger zone. So, anyway, you're listening to
ROCKFLUX Live.
And if I didn't say it.
Good morning.
And my teeth are still feeling weird on the left-hand side,
And I want my favorite DJ to give everybody the word. Who's on the turntables tonight, my son?
It's me, man. And I'm not your son. Wolfman Jack, man.
Your papers, please.
Who's on the turntables tonight, my son? It was crazy stuff. It's just crazy. All right, let's get in. Speaking of crazy, but not crazy. Okay, let's go through the normal what's happening. Bitcoin is 666. 66,620. I forget, was it 68 yesterday? Or was it 66? Did it stay the same? I forget. It's showing that on October 28th it was 60. Yeah, it was higher yesterday. If you look at the far end of this graph, you'll see that it dips. Yeah, if you're looking on a TV. I was watching someone else's channel, and they might be using the same program as I am. And some of these channels, like there's nothing I'm doing as far as I know that has anything to do with why this screen would cut off at the ends, right? Like the Freedom is Fun, is like cut off on my TV screen. And it's kind of weird. So it's strange. But anyway, now that I've moved it over, I'm sure you can see it, even if it is a phenomenon that's happening to everybody. It doesn't happen on a computer, desktop. I know that, but it does happen on the TV. I think it happens on some TVs. And I checked my TV to make sure I didn't have it like zoomed out or anything weird. But yeah, so it popped down like 2. So there was probably a little bit of profit taking yesterday. I have a feeling that people are playing Bitcoin, playing it, the market. That's how they do, people who people traders, type of situation. So, and I don't know how exactly they're doing that because there just must be a lot of Bitcoin floating around on the open market because it used to be so hard to get, but I guess when the Chinese set up these Bitcoin algorithm solving farms, and various governments got involved in it, and big billionaires, they ruined it for the average person. Because in the beginning it was like you solve the equation and, hey, bang, you win a Bitcoin. And it was hard to do. And it was like, the big thing back then was it was like energy. They used to say it wasn't worth the amount of electricity processing power that you were putting into getting that, $100 Bitcoin or whatever it was worth. But at 66,000, no one has an electric bill of $66,000. If your electric bill was $1,000 in a month, and you were able to earn yourself a Bitcoin, you made $65,000. So pay the electric bill and move on. But so anyway, so day traders, what they'll do is these are people that will just go in, buy, sell. Every time it goes up like every time, they say they have 10 Bitcoin or something like that. If it goes up 2,000, that's 20 grand. They'll take the 20 grand out, right? Then they'll leave, but they'll leave what's in it, leave it in other stuff to ride. And if that goes up, they'll take another 20 grand out. And so they have a $20,000 a month income. So they're making, $250,000 a year, basically. That's day trading. They do it with stocks and different things like that. So, when you see these people wondering why, who are all these people driving around during the daytime? Did you ever notice that? I mean, I'm retired, but, when I go somewhere, there's just traffic everywhere, right? And there's a constant flow even when I walk to the grocery store of all these people. And in the grocery store, in the middle of the day, it's crowded. And you're going like, who are these people? And it's not like you're seeing like a bunch of vans or cars with company logos on it as if these people, and like I'm down there during the lunch hour or something. Do you know what I mean? This is like middle of the day, and run-of-the-mill SUVs and just different people. And it's like nobody's working, but they all seem to have like these like nice cars and they're buying stuff, right? So I don't know. There must be a lot of day traders out there. Anyway, that's that. I turned on the TV. No, I turned on the YouTube last night and checked into La Palma because I told you yesterday we looked at a daytime photo and it just looked like it might have been fizzling out. But no, if you look very closely to this on the left-hand side of that big pink, ash cloud, you can see, if I were able to zoom into it, anyway, 80 more earthquakes registered with the largest of 3.8. Okay, but let's make this larger. We don't even need to see my frickin' face. This is the latest photo, by the way. So I guess what this one is demonstrating more so than anything else is you can see on the one side that there's still jets of magma shooting up, but that all these other jets of magma are lighting up this ash cloud. And what's neat about this photo is this is actually a classic. I didn't see this when I first got it, but look at the moon up there. In fact, I didn't realize we were at like a new full moon thing. I want to double check this because this photo claims to be current. New window, full moon, November 21. Let's see. What day is the full moon? November 21, November 19th. Friday, November 19th, the day I get my name. So, it looks like a full moon up there, doesn't it? Unless it's just the way the camera picked it up, and if you look to the upper left-hand side, it's it's not really a full moon, but the brightness of it is like kind of filling in the circle. But be that as it may, this is a nighttime shot, and I watched some live footage, not for a long time yesterday, but for a while. And yeah, that thing's still active. It hasn't petered out, as they say. So it's with us for a while. And apparently there was a big, volcanic, I would use the word explosion, might be overkill, but that might have been the word they used, in Russia, that Kamchatka or whatever, Kambachu or whatever it is. I need to get some photos of that one as well, and we'll follow that. So that apparently is like spewed out ash 34,000 miles or 34,000 feet into the sky. And sometimes the pilot's on, we're traveling at 20,000 feet or 30,000 feet. We might be experiencing some turbulence. So, that's up in airplane land, shooting up that ash, that Russian volcano. So this is what I'm trying to tell you. Do you understand? And I guess I could, this isn't a volcano channel, and there are channels, and you can go to the USGS site and find that thing. We could actually do that now. My CPU doesn't seem to be too high. Let's look at new window, USGS Volcano Science Center. Volcano Hazards. And let me bring you in on this so you can see what I'm doing. Display capture, properties, Volcano Hazards. okay. You got to go through all this weird stuff to do this. All right, so this is Volcano Hazards. As you can see, these little eyes, all right, there's some activity. This is that chain, along the Bering Sea. This is Alaska. Alaska's supposedly looking to get some big snow, too. And so when you see the eyes, that's like a watch, okay? Now, I believe, you see, you used to be able to move. Okay, you move this way. Volcano service. It's just kind of showing it us. They usually show more than that. Anyway, the I means watch, increasing level of concern. So there's 3 watches. It looks like there's a watch at Kilauea or somewhere in Hawaii. It's hidden by that yellow. You see there's like an orange behind there and the legend down at the bottom. So let's see if we can get into more volcanoes. Volcano updates, monitoring. Let's see. Volcano updates. All right. We don't get pictures here, do we? Kilauea advisory level is a watch. Semi-Sopho-Null, whatever that is a watch. Great Sitkin is a watch. Pavlov is a watch. Now, I don't see, let me go back here. These government, they spend so much money on this. Let's see if they got a picture here. No, they don't. What good is this site? Let's go back to begin. Let's go back somewhere else. I mean, let's go to active volcanoes. Active volcano. Let's just look in general. So, how many volcanoes are currently active? 26 active volcanoes erupting around the world today, according to the USGS. Of course, they wouldn't show us on their site. There are about 1,500 potentially active volcanoes worldwide, with 500 of the 1,500 erupting in historical times. Okay, so now at the top we have Kilauea is active, but last eruption was December 20th. I'm looking for that Russian one that I just read about yesterday that exploded. Let's see if we can find it. I don't see the name of it anywhere. It was, it's a name I would remember. Let's go back here. What's erupting? List of maps of currently erupting volcanoes. Jukebox. I'd like to have one of those in a full-size video game. Okay, here we go. So, what's erupting? List of map and currently active volcanoes. So, satellite. I mean, let's enlarge, see if we can enlarge this. We can enlarge it, but we can't seem to get it out here. Let's see. Okay. That's a little bit better. It takes you forever to do this stuff, right? So now we can, there we go. All right. So as we saw before, we've got Pavlov Volcano, Alaska Peninsula, and the Great Sitkin Volcano. And I guess on this map, the red is the ones that are on a watch. I don't know what erupting would mean. I'm trying to look up here. Orange is warning minor activity. Actually, red is eruption. Okay. So there is an eruption at Great Sitkin. There apparently is some eruption at Kilauea. I guess not much. There seems to be an eruption down in Mexico or Central America. There's some action going on down there. There's eruptions all along, I guess you call this almost the Ring of Fire kind of thing, down into South America. Now, let's see if I can move this. Yes, I can. And obviously here, this is La Palma, Canary Islands, and that's red, and it should be because that's an eruption. And, of course, Etna is erupting, and in Africa, down in the Congo, you've got a volcano erupting, and up in Ethiopia, there's an eruption. And then down Indonesia way, it looks like we've got like 3 volcanoes erupting there, and there's one in the Molucca Sea. And then up just south of, South Korea, there's one. And then up in Russia, I swear that none of those names were the ones that they mentioned last night. There's one down in Vanuatu. Vanuatu is a very between earthquakes and volcano. It's a very seismically active type of place. And there's even a volcano down in there, Antarctica, Erebus, which is a pretty big volcano potentially. So so all these things are erupting, which, not to the degree of spewing major ash into the sky, right? So they're not super erupting, but they're erupting. And in China, there's some circles there, and I don't know why they're circled as opposed to in the volcanic form, but there's some activity. There apparently is activity going on there. Maybe they don't allow, reports on this. But what I'm trying to say is every one of these things scattered throughout the earth in some way, shape, or form is spewing up ash into the atmosphere. And the more ash you throw in the atmosphere, the more and here's a satellite view, hybrid, right, plates. This shows you like the Ring of Fire and like and you could see how a lot of this activity is along that so-called Ring of Fire in the Pacific. The continental plates where things meet. That's where most of the seismic activity usually occurs. But in any event, this is cooling the planet. So I wasn't going to turn this entire show into a thing about volcanoes, but such that it is. And let's get rid of this. Now, while we're here, we might as well deal with the idiotic news of the day. Okay? So let me just put this on news because it's acting weird. All right. So this is where I'm trying to say. Now, remember Brian Williams was caught in a lie and like he should have been fired like years ago, but somehow he said he was sorry he lied. I mean, this is a news guy, right? And it was a big lie. He said he was in a helicopter that got shot down or something weird like that. I mean, he literally lied about the news and interjected himself into it as if he was, and they just like, that's okay. You lie. You're a news anchor who got caught with a big fat lie. And now Brian Williams announced plans to depart MSNBC, NBC after 28-year career with the network. It should say, proven, big fat liar finally ousted. See, anyone who trusts the media, God damn this thing. This coffee. Wants to overflow, and it's like warm. So anyway, that's, and the news being the news itself is meaningless anyway. So here's some big fat liar, finally is leaving. Good riddance. You lied. You're a fucking idiot. Get the fuck out. Get the fuck off of TV, and good riddance. Now you got this Trump thing they won't let go. Like, big fucking deal. Who gives a flying fuck? Are they so afraid of this guy? He's just some dude who plays golf. He's an old man, plays golf. And look at the picture they chose. They've got skull and crossbones on with the Trump thing. Trump throws sand in gears of Capitol attack. Judge allows January 6th committee. What the fuck is January 6th? And what does it have to do with anything? And then look at this picture they got here. I haven't done that in a while, but man, I'm belching right at this thing. Winter is coming, Newsom warns as COVID threats persist. Newsom says he abruptly pulled out of COP26 to go trick-or-treating. I had no damn choice. What the? Do you understand how crazy the fucking news is? And what was Kayleigh McEnany, among 10 hit with subpoenas? There was a rally going on down the street, and Alex Jones and some guy with horns and some other fucking, half of them, agent provocateurs were playing some game, and we're playing like King of the Castle in the Congress. There was no riot or anything of the sort. And then people got dragged along with it, and then some paranoid frickin' Capitol cop shot some innocent woman who served her country, a military person who was just in the crowd. It's a people's house. It's like, that's not theirs. It's ours. The whole thing's a frickin' joke. Man, is that? I only bring that up because like I said, I couldn't believe it. I scan it. I want to know. Was this one guy, that Theopolis guy? Says you keep your head on a swivel. I don't know why he says that. My head's on a swivel. But it's like you keep yourself, aware of what's going on. But I swear, every time, this is why I cut the cord, man. Because every time I even glance at it even on the internet, it's freaking insane. The sun's going to fucking explode and kill everybody within the next 20 years. It could happen tomorrow. So fuck that to begin with. And you're worrying about fucking Trump and politics and something. And besides, why don't you fess up and admit that when they remodeled the Congress, you all had this escape hatch that you could go down and get into the tunnels for the continuity of government bunkers. Right? AOC, I was afraid for my life. You weren't afraid for your life. I'm sure you were briefed on how to get down to the lower levels. Right? So what? Some guy with the horn who turned out to be a left-winger anyway or something, right? Yeah. What did this have to do with the rally that was going on in another part of the town, down the street, far down the street, actually? People are fucking weird, man. This is crazy. I mean, this is more, what people should be paying attention to. Let me move over here a little bit. I'll just keep pushing my head aside. I didn't mean to get worked up, you know. Good God, we need a little bit of a break here.
You got a rattlesnake inside your house. You got a rattlesnake inside your house. Oh, yeah.
There's just one in here?
Yeah, I
hope.
Call David Bailey now. Hey, David Bailey!
Well, Kingdom, eat your heart out.
Oh, yeah.
This is really funny. Really funny. Wait a minute.
Don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
Yeah, man. It's crazy. But I'm over it now, so.
Quality, quantity, and variety.
ROCKFLUX.
Let's get this show on the road.
Yeah, let's get the show on the road. I think, therefore I ain't. I think I got $68 left in my EBT. I'm not sure. To double check that. Which is a small fortune, considering my house is stocked with food. No, it's great. It's great. So I guess we ought to check. While we're into doing this, before we get into this complete show, this is the last day of 20% off. So let's go to ROCKFLUX Moose. Let me turn you on to this. Display capture on properties, party animal. Okay. La ti ta ti ta ti ta ti ta ti la ti ta. Anyway, I got one of these. This is a close-up of it. This is like the party animal, Christmas moose party animal. I call it moose, but I guess it's a is it a reindeer? I don't know. But anyway, you know, you can get the shirt. Men, women, hoodies. And, you know, they're showing the bears, but hey, wait a second. Teddy bear is in stock. We will print as soon as you order. So it's 20% off. Let me just take that out and go back to all designs. So, for example, if you want, let's see, game over, Teddy. I like this one better, the one with the weird looking face. It's in stock. They're back in stock. I don't know if I want a game over, right? Check out this chick. These shirts look nice on women, right? It's like the baseball shirt. 20% off that means you'll pay less than, you know, it's like over $4 for, you know, you're gonna pay under $20 for that cool shirt. You know, it's available in all sizes, even if you're a big girl. You know? But, you know, so when you go to my website, you know, these are your choices. I don't think you can get this on a teddy. No. You get it on I have it on a shirt. It actually, you wouldn't think this is the shirt I'm wearing right now. But let's see about you don't know. Yeah, you don't know what you don't know. I don't know why. Oh, okay, good. So you could get that in black. You know, you wouldn't want it in white because you couldn't see the print. So you'd want red. I don't know, maybe red is nice. I'm torn between getting you don't know what you don't know. Let me go back here. I have one. I have that shirt right there. Or, in the background, even though I don't really push this too much as the morning show, it is the morning show. The morning show Teddy looks kind of neat. White on white, red on white. But they're in stock. And look, it expires today, 20% off everything. Redeem. $19.99, that means you get $4 off. You're only paying $16. There'll be some shipping, but for under probably, $20, man. That's a dog, not a teddy, I guess. That's what they're saying. Looks kind of weird. You could get the, tie-dye. You can get a sticker for a couple of bucks. You could even get one of these things, which I would never get. This we have right in the background. Baseball shirts. But, I don't know what to get. Like if I should get in everything is wrong. That kind of looks nice. Hey, let me go back. Do they have? I prefer the teddy bear as opposed to the dog one. That's like the coolest dog face. You can get it in black. I don't know. Maybe I'll get everything is wrong. I don't know. These would make great gifts for people. It's like, because, like I said, or even stuff, I said this the other day, you could put it on your sofa and friends come over. And even if you have relatives that have little kids, they can't read it. So it's like, it's something in the face of the, of the, your relatives, just to mess with them. Anyway, so that's it. The teddy bears are back in stock. So, get them while they're hot. I'm going to order one today. I'm just not sure what I want. See, I would get the festive one, but then it'd only be good around the holiday season. See, I want to put something back here. Probably on top of this radio, because up here is just garbage and there's like this little blank space. You see, like right there. So I'm not sure what it should be. I don't need the game over because I've got the hat, the game over hat, and I got a game over shirt. Pretty sure I have a game over shirt, yeah. Everything is wrong. Nah. You don't know what you don't know. Unless I do get the holiday one. But the image is a little bit smaller on that. Well, anyway, there's no excuse, man. You could get everything from a teddy bear to a hoodie to a T-shirt to whatever, to even one of these goofy things that says everything is wrong to mess with people. Or game over. Or freedom is fun. And it supports the channel. So do it. Do it. Go ahead. Do it, man. Do it. Do it. Go on and do it.
Hello. 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 Hello.
WTF is this idiot's frickin' problem? The powers that be. Dance. We the people. Right? And now we discovered that they are post-dating my videos so that people can't discover them live. Yeah, because it doesn't make sense. I mean, I've seen these people just start up and somebody puts out some goofy thing like testing, my video, testing, seeing, this is my first video. I'm just trying to do this thing. And the guy's got 22,000 viewers. Explain that. Right? And I've got like hundreds and hundreds. I don't know, 500 videos, right? Whatever. 300 some this year alone. Like, you know, over 300. I mean, it's 365 days in the year. And there's 31, like 45 days left. So, 365 minus 320. Well, I took 2 weeks off. So just over 300 videos already this year I did. And I was doing videos, of course, forever. But I did a lot of videos last year. So I'm doing 300 videos. I'm on live. This information is like all over the place. Right? I mean, look what we covered alone today. Everything from climate, weather, news, volcanoes, the whole 9 yards. In fact, speaking of which, let's get into music. This is great. Now, a lot of people have no idea what this is, who that guy is, leaning up against Anne Margret. Now, we've talked about Anne Margret before in the past, okay? She's just one of those high energy women that, like, if you ever find them, marry them, lasso her, I knew a girl like that. I mean, they're just, yeah, anybody to capture one of those. Well, anyway, Al Hirt was a great, horn player and, musician extraordinaire. And Anne Margret did this album with Al Hirt. It's a studio album. This is virtually impossible to find. I happen to have had this record, but I lost it. It was basically stolen, destroyed in this building by this lunatic, and I just don't want to get into it. This other place. Some hoarder who rented a place and didn't let us know. It's just a nightmare. I had classic stuff because I was the king of swing. I was the lounge. I had the longest running lounge show on the internet before the iPod was created in the 90s. Written up in magazines. I've talked about that before. But anyway, I still have one of the songs that I did manage to digitize from is The Best Man. Now, I can't imagine having it on this computer, but let's just check. No. Well, let's look. And no. Of course, yesterday we did find some Fleetwood Mac, which was, so it's not like we've been totally coming up negative. But anyway, this particular album is a great album. I mean, and Anne Margret has other albums, and Anne Margret was in like one or two Elvis movies, right? I think she was in the one where he was she in the one where was she in the Hawaiian one? I forget. Let's do it. Let's not ask. Let's find out. New window. Anne Margret, Elvis movie. She was in Viva Las Vegas. And let me bring you in on this. You will probably be able to hear this, but I won't. Because it's weird how my computer works. But let's do this. YouTube, Elvis. Okay. Anyway, that's Anne Margret with Elvis, and there's like a preview of it. Viva Las Vegas. Look at her dancing, if you can see that. She was just nuts. I don't know if you could play too. Yeah. I don't know if we'll get a copyright hit on this or not. Just look at the expression on her face. How crazy she was. I mean, could you imagine, like, as a guy trying to, like, hang out with her? Look at her face. Look at her. I mean, that's wild. That's Anne Margret, man. She was something else. I think she still might be alive. I'm not sure. But if she's not, yeah, crazy. She was some wild woman. That's for sure. Anyway, I hope you saw that. I heard it. Did you see that? I don't know if you did. I hope you did. Because maybe I didn't say okay. If you didn't see that, you missed out. I'm sorry. I hope that showed up. Anyway, it's a featured album, Anne Margret. She's a great singer and a crazy dancer. And if you just saw me like Google-eying at her going, "Ow, look at her, look how crazy," then that was weird. But I can't backtrack to see. And I should have seen... because there's a delay to this, so I don't know. Well, whatever. Let's not talk about it. Let's just talk about this album. You're not going to find it, but you might be able to request it. I know I've got that expression on my face of almost embarrassment where I feel like a fool, and I do feel like a fool. If that didn't come over. So, that sucks,
Hey, it's me. How you doing, man?
I don't know. I may or may not have just made a fool out of myself, but that's nothing new. So anyway, that was Anne Margret. Check her out. She was an interesting singer and dancer. And find that video on YouTube. If it didn't show up for some reason, go find that, because you'll understand why I was looking Google-eyed and being weird. Because it was just insane. It is insane,
Good morning.
All right, let's get back into the show.
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
But like I was saying about, come on. Despite the fact that I have some things that don't necessarily work out right from time to time, it's still, we got music, we've got the grow room, plants. We deal with the sun, and solar activity and the weather, current satellite. We poke fun at the ridiculousness of the news, go on some little internet journeys, cover the volcanoes, et cetera, et cetera. And for some reason, I'm getting one of those weird things happening again, where as if there's some mystery thing on. I don't know what's going on. Sorry. So, yeah. So it's like, The wild, it's like we're in the wild, wild west. And what I wanted to, what got me thinking about this was I brought this up yesterday when I was talking with someone on the phone, because there are people, this starts with like collection agencies. And, first of all, the concept of these collection agencies, so to speak, or whatever they call them, collection services or whatever, these are people that buy loan. Like sometimes a person goes bankrupt, right? Okay, so your loans are gone. People are retired. Like I told you once about this organization called HELPS, HELPS. Look that up. HELPS for seniors or people who are retired or on Social Security. Even if you're a vet on Social Security or whatever, disabled or legitimately just on Social Security, all right? And it's a law firm that basically helps you deal with debt, because the law states that once someone is on Social Security, you can't touch Social Security, okay? And so they can harass you, and this law firm will help you, and they just really ask for like a very small donation, kind of. It's not like a donation, but I'm talking about a fee that's like so low, it's cheaper than a cup of coffee, at Starbucks or something. Couple cups of coffee a month at Starbucks. Though I don't buy coffee at Starbucks and wouldn't out of principle. But, and then there's people who go bankrupt and who basically are, starting anew because they've been in whatever situation. And then there's people who pay off their debts and they go through some of these like consolidation services that are scams. All right, where they say, hey, well, we'll put all your stuff together, we'll contact all your creditors, and we'll start making payments and get these things all settled up, and we'll work deals out, and we'll get you out of this mess, and you just pay us one monthly fee of such and such. What they neglect to tell you is that, and I did this, I tried this once, right? Because I wanted to get rid of my credit cards, and I still had some imbalances, and I wanted to do the right thing. I wanted to pay them off. And that most of your credit cards, like if you had a lot of credit cards, that it's interest, right? So it's not like you're cheating or trying to game the system or something like that. It's like they're going to get their money, the money they put out, and even some of their interest, but not like 25 or, whatever ridiculous or the absurd, when they put it in collection, so to speak, they like double it or something and add all kinds of fees onto it. So these organizations that are out there, they pretend as if they're going to like, okay, we'll solve this problem for you. We'll simplify it. It'll be one payment, and you'll be and you pay this off for so many years, couple of years, and you'll be back, and you will not have had to have gone bankrupt, so your credit will be fine, right? Well, what they neglect to tell you is you're paying them. And I was in one of these, and I paid them for like almost 2 years, right? And I think one or two of the tiny credit cards were like paid off or something like that. But most of the fee that I was paying, my monthly fee to them, which was a couple $100 or something, it wasn't cheap. Might have been more than that, a couple $100, was going to their fee, which they, never told you. And so I finally go like, the heck with this. Like, how come all these credit cards, I still have balances? Because you could like go on, and I'm going like a couple of small credit cards that I had like $300, like not even $300 on, owed on. Yeah, they were paid off, but some of these bigger, I'm going, why aren't these cards paid off? I've been paying you for 2 years, right? I've given you like $5-6 grand, maybe more, maybe $8 or something, a ridiculous amount. And they're like, well, we take our fee up front. So I wasn't paying off my credit cards. I was paying some scam operation. It's pretending they're a consolidation thing. Oh, yeah, if I would have paid them for 15 years. Well, I could have made those individual deals with credit card companies and not had to pay a fee, a secondary fee to an intermediary, right? Because when a credit card goes, if you go beyond, the credit card companies will give you an offer at the end. They'll like negate the fees and say, if you owed them $3,000 or something, they'll say, give us $1,600 and we'll, and it'll be over. And then what they didn't tell you, like these people were supposedly your consultants in this thing. You're paying to hire them. That when a credit card is settled or a write-off occurs, that's not a capital gains, or it's some kind of shows as an income. And so I had to pay that on my taxes because I had, some settlements made that I had made or something to the magnitude of a few $1,000s. And I had to pay income tax on that because that's how that's considered. If anyone's been involved in this, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't been, avoid those things. But anyway, so here's the deal. So what happens is that doesn't stop them. So whether you go bankrupt or you're involved in one of these services paying this stuff off or whatever, there's these like illegally type of collection companies that come along and somehow buy in or get a hold of your information, and they start harassing you on the phone, sending you stuff, trying to collect. And because they do that, they somehow have access to your credit reports, and they post like you owe this money that you didn't owe. And so now your credit rating goes down because it looks like you owe thousands of dollars. You've already paid taxes on the settlements, and you've already paid off, these bills. And if you happen to be a vet or somebody on Social Security or something like that, or gone bankrupt, that stuff is supposed to be written off and wiped off. And so right now it's the Wild West because this administration, these bureaucrats in charge are just not paying attention to anything. There's lawlessness. And that's what this is all about today. That's what I wanted to talk about for the rest of the show. See, these people are so concerned with themselves and these weird, like the COP26 trick-or-treating. What the fuck was this guy talking about? Right? What did he say? Winter is coming, Newsom warns as COVID threat persists. Newsom says he abruptly pulled out of COP26 climate summit to go trick-or-treating. I had no damn choice. Lying actor Brian Williams leaving news. Right? And then this guy, and they put the skull and crossbones type of flag, the Jolly Roger on here. Look at that. So they're playing their weird, crazy, psychotic games, with the World Economic Forum, Davos, the COP26. My coffee's frickin' cold. And this weird stuff that you can't see is happening on my screen. And so, so that's another one. So people are being victimized by all sorts of people are coming out of the woodwork. It's like I told you about spam. Like for some reason, and this has happened just in the past, year, kind of. Somehow spam has gotten completely totally legalized again. And scam and caller scams and credit collection scams, and they're not paying attention to any of that stuff. Meanwhile, the FBI's getting caught in lies, and they're finding all the that all this stuff, and Congress is getting caught doing insider trading, right? And the Steele dossier is proven that whole fiasco for 5 years, 2 impeachment hearings and stuff were all fake. And now they're pushing some January 6th thing, trying to call it a riot. And it was like a bunch of just goofy guy with horns and some, just a crowd of people. Right. And so we're screwed. And then I told the story if you go see watch yesterday's show and listen to the scenario we called the LARP about what this supply disruption may well be about. And they're talking about this thing. We're going to be entering into the third year shortly. Most likely the third year. Not the second year. It'll be like the third year, since it, by all accounts like I say, former CIA director and director of intelligence, and who've come forward and said this in interviews that have been broadcast worldwide. No, this isn't make believe. So it's, yeah. And then, like I showed you, all these volcanoes spewing up the ash and the earth. And it's cold, man. We're going to have, it is going to be a dark winter. It's going to be dark, cold winter from here on in. And, we're just building up. I mean, we're in we're eventually, when solar minimum, grand solar minimum eventually hits later on in the decade here, it's going to be a frozen planet. And and the whole cycle that we're going through now with sunspots and all this activity hasn't been like, all it's been doing is, because of a weakened magnetic field, has just been heating up the magma in the earth and causing all this volcanic and seismic activity, earthquakes. And I'll say it again, the conveyor is slowing down, so the northern latitudes are going to be colder. Magnetic field is weak. It's allowing those cosmic rays in, which will cause more volcanic activity and stuff. And that is going to put ash into the upper atmosphere, and it's going to make the planet cooler. Not to mention, I think we're in a La Nina right now, which is a cool, So anyway, we're looking at serious, probably a really cold winter and serious problems, and people aren't prepared. And people won't go to my great solar stuff and get aren't prepared. There's you want to feel sorry for people last year, like in Texas and stuff. And I think some people lost their lives, but the idea is that, guys like me are out here, they're throttling guys like me who are trying to tell you, hey, get one of these things, one of these power things. If the power goes out, you have power. You could charge your cell phone. And then you can recharge this thing from your frickin' car if need be. You don't need to get the solar panel. I have great solar stuff and all that. That's where you can get them from. I have a website dedicated to that, which I've had for years, decades. But people don't pay attention and they hide this. There's 0 viewers right now. I'm broadcasting live. Eventually there'll be like a handful when it's all said and done because of the way they throttle me. But this is what's going on. The powers that be dance. And, the guy, if you look closely, he's got this puzzled face on. Is like, what the? What's this guy's problem, man? What's their problem? What is their problem? I mean, the COP thing, like 400 some private jets went there, obviously all using major amounts of carbon-based fuels. And now, excuse me, brutally honest show. Sorry about that,
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
I can't help it. I get up at like 2:30 today. But I went to bed at 5:30. 6 to 2 is like 8 hours of sleep. Oh, these days are so long for me. It's really weird when you go to bed early. In the summertime, it's fine because when you're a gardener, farmers know all about this stuff. Early to bed, early to rise makes you whatever, healthy, happy, and wise, or something like that. The old expression. But yeah, when you go to bed real early and you wake up real early, you really live life. Your days just are so long, even though you go to bed early, because your days are long. So anyway, here's the kicker. So all these hypocrites, like even Barack Obama was over at that COP making some kind of speech, like as if, well, I have enough that I can afford to give, but other people don't. It's like you just bought an $11 million mansion in Martha's Vineyard near the water, and you're telling people that the water's going to rise. Sea levels are going to rise. And we're past the tipping point or something like that. Well, why'd you buy a house at the water's edge, basically? You understand? They're lying. They're hypocrites. All the wealthy people have beach homes, right? And they're saying ocean levels are going to rise. Do you understand hypocrites? All the wealthy people who went to the COP thing, right? This climate summit, whatever. There were 400 private jets that, run on carbon-based fuels. Do you think they're going to give up those jets? No. And do you think you don't think they're using those jets all the time? Right? And going to different islands and all this stuff. They're like the biggest polluters and users of carbon-based fuels on the planet. The elite, right? All the billionaires have these mansions. Yeah, some of them have like solar power and stuff like that, but that's a minority of them. No, they're hypocrites. They're just messing with your head. They're like this guy. They're dance, right? Like the Wild West. But anyway, here's the kicker. Okay, so we know that China may well attack Taiwan. China's into all this prepping. They're telling their people to stock up on foods and stuff. Like they're preparing for war. Right? This is being reported by the Chinese news agencies and people who cover Chinese TV, like translators and stuff like that. Now, here's the thing. Then the U.S., the Biden administration, not Biden, because, did you see the thing where they had a blue screen behind him as if the Rose Garden was behind him, but it was fake? Like he wasn't really at the White House, but they made this thing and they thought the American people were so stupid that they would actually think he was talking from the White House. I mean, there's some real fishy stuff going on with this character. And have you seen him snap out on people? And, his press secretary supposedly got the thing, even though she got the thing in the arm. Like they're all missing in action. It's all weird. It's like, and then he's there and he's like freaking out. He's on some kind of weird drug that makes him angry. You know, like, I mean, like psychotic angry. You know, like something where somebody's snapping out and people are going, you know, you need to chill out a little bit. You know, it's a real sign of dementia. Like I say, I know firsthand. I've had family member with that. And so, but here's the kicker, as I've said 3 times. We don't have enough oil now. See, I've been telling you this for like a year. I said when they first started talking about this infrastructure bill, all right, now it's passed and stuff. And now winter's here, all right? So the price of fuel's going up in many areas. Gas, I should say, and heating fuel. Okay. Now we have to get through a cold winter, all right? And there may be some kind of war, some hot war over in Taiwan. And we don't have the oil to keep our gas prices. Biden somehow asked OPEC and Russia for oil. And they said, no, we're not giving you any oil. Why should you? You've been like, demonizing us and fucking with us. So he's tapping the strategic reserves to try to keep oil prices down and get us through the winter. The strategic reserves. But last year, we were the biggest producers of energy in the world. But he put up the kibosh on that. So now we're running out of fuel. And what these Green New Deal type of people don't understand, because they were never taught it. They just didn't understand that this is a carbon-based civilization, and we're a carbon-based society, and we're actually carbon-based, creatures, beings, whatever. We're carbon-based. And what they don't understand, because they're naive. They just been taught things in schools like, oh, this is 0.004 CO2 is bad. No one ever bothered to tell them that that's the stuff that greens the trees and grows the crops and gives us oxygen. And it's 78% of the atmosphere is actually nitrogen. Oxygen and 0.09% argon, and that CO2 is a trace gas. Same with methane. And so now we're approaching winter, and they're tapping our strategic reserves. Well, we run out of the strategic reserves, and China decides, this is how crazy this is. There's some scary stuff going on, man, I'm telling you. Between what's going on, the real potential explanation for the supply chain, what that bottleneck blockage with all those container ships and those containers, what the real reason for that might be, see yesterday's show, tied into the fact that we're running out of oil, heating oil and petrol. If China decides, and do you think China doesn't know this? It's public knowledge. It's been announced. So we're going to tap the strategic oil reserves. Well, they're going to watch the U.S. go through this cold winter, watch our strategic oil reserves dwindle down, and then they're going to attack Taiwan. Now, we have some nuclear submarines and different things like that. They're not all running on petrol, but our jets, our fighter jets and all that stuff run on, fuels. So we're going to be in a very bad place. So what are we going to do? Attack the Middle East again? Attack OPEC and steal their oil again? Go back to Iraq and take their oil? Go, do something with Iran, take their oil? And then Russia, has got a pact or something with Iran. So, I mean, is this going to be World War III over oil? And where are those people who talked about that years ago, just like decades too early, didn't understand that this would happen now? They thought it was happening like in the 90s and the early 2000s, you know, when we were over there. And it's like, no, that was just setting up, you know, setting it up. Now we're in a situation where it's likely to happen. Right? What are we going to do? I mean, New York, Boston, Philadelphia, Chicago, Indianapolis, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, right? I mean, you know, just keep going, you know, into the plains. Just keep going across the whole northern part of the United States. Washington, D.C., for crying out loud, gets cold in the wintertime, right? West Virginia. I mean, all, you know, just straight across. Now, Europe is getting its oil. They got a deal. They're getting their oil from Russia. So they're fine, you know. France gets most of its energy from nuclear. So Europe will get through this winter, right? China has all these coal plants because China is already getting snow and cold weather. But, you know, they're just going to turn up the coal. And they've got deals with Russia, too. But we don't have deals with anybody because we kind of like basically said F you to everybody. You know, this administration. And then we're no longer energy independent. We were energy independent last year. This year we're not. This year we're going to run out of. So we're tapping our strategic oil reserves, which are supposedly to be like for emergency use only, and are only for like basically for a single emergency primarily. Like a war or some kind of, you know, crises that could occur. That's what happened. I was wondering what was going on with this cord, why it was hanging down, dangling. So, every day I come on here and it's like, what am I going to talk about? And then, you know, you know, like I say, if more people were watching this, your mind should be blown. Right? Not the weirdest thing. It's like I got 4 playbacks. Average watch time, 3 seconds. How is that possible? 4 playbacks, average watch time, 3 seconds. 1001, 1002, 1000. I mean, that's like, it doesn't even give you a chance to get the thing to hit the play button. You know what I mean? That's how quick that would be. I don't know what kind of game's being played there. So when they talk about a dark winter, so, you know, I would advise you to go to my site, greatsolarstuff.com, and get yourself a power pack. And get the one that's like 1,000 watt or something, right? So you could run things. And I don't sell these things, but I have one over here. Hold on, if my wires. Let me take this thing down. I picked this thing up at the store, but you might be able to find one. I found this thing on sale. I think that's Walmart. Yeah, clearance, $7. I don't think I didn't ever opened it really. But the thing about it is, it's a 2,500 watt electric heater. You know? And I guess that's an emergency tip-off thing. So you want to get yourself one of those power packs that can handle 2,500 watts. And you might want to get yourself like a little portable heater like this, unless you happen to have a fireplace or something in your house. I'm just going to put this back. I think in my grow room, whenever I move, my chair just went down. Because I had the world's cheapest chair. Of course, it's 20-some years old. I've already tried to repair it a couple of times. Bought new casters for it, etc. But what I'm saying is, yeah, I think I have in my grow room. I don't use it now, but I think I have one that's even less watts, like a 200 watter or something. And, or somebody, or like if you could get a low watt electric blanket or something. But, and there are different things, but, go to Great Solar Stuff and buy through, help support me because I'm telling you about this. But, what are we going to do? Okay, they tap the strategic oil reserves now. So they want to keep the price of gasoline like in the $3, below $4 or something like that. Some areas it is higher. Some areas it fluctuates around 3-ish or something. Let's see what the average. I'll just do a quick check here. New window. I won't pull this up. Just average cost of gas. $3 regular, $3.41. Yesterday, $3.42. A month ago, $3.26. A week ago, $3.40. So it's fluctuating around $3.40 average around the country. See, it used to be $4 was like the ceiling. Like when that happened, the economy like crashed. So we're 60 cents away. Some areas, if that's the average, some areas obviously are already at that area. And they found, because you see how many people have SUVs, right? I mean, that's the car of choice today, right? SUVs. Well, they're gas hogs. They've got big tanks, gas tanks. So, so they're tapping the strategic reserves because he wants to bring the price of gasoline down. Okay. And so in the short term, that may work. See, because the retailers, the big, the corporatocracy, which are the powers that be in this graphic, are saying, hey, man, you better, because remember, Biden's not in charge. So it's not really, hey, man. It's like, hey, y'all, whoever, right? Whoever's running this country, nobody knows. See, that's the thing. Nobody knows who's running this country. And it's actually what's kept us out of war so far is because nobody knows. So there's a mystery about it. Because we're very weak. This country's in a very weakened form. I mean, we have a strong military and all that stuff, but nobody knows who's in charge. So you could have the greatest army in the world, but if you have no commanding and control, do you see? We know who's in charge of the United States. It's not the guy who can't, remember his name or where he is, and that who won't do a press conference. And they put a blue screen or green screen behind him and pretend he's at the White House. And they get bust him on it. Why would they even do that? Right? You can research that. That's recent. Yeah, like the fake rose garden behind him. I mean, you got to be kidding me, man. So nobody knows who's in charge. So that's kind of like confusing the enemies or the people that want, because it's about power and this, socioeconomic geopolitics. that's what the world runs the world. All right. And so for the time being, people don't know. So because there's uncertainty, everybody's like kind of, okay, we're not sure who's in control. And now Bitcoin is like taking over, exists now. So the US dollar's not really, China doesn't, bought a lot of our debt, but they're not doing that anymore. So they don't care. And, it's all really screwed up. It's really weird. So, okay. So the US, and they're seeing us tap our strategic oil reserves, and we were caught begging OPEC and Russia, right, for oil. I mean, real weak thing. They saw the weak thing where we left Afghanistan, abandoned people and materiel and all that stuff, right? They see a guy who's a figurehead who doesn't know what day it is, except on the days when they give them like the blood transfusion and whatever drugs they give them that only last a certain amount of time. And then towards the end of the thing, he gets crazy, right? Somebody asks him a question and he like snaps out like a wild man, a madman. I saw a video of that yesterday. That was just happened this past week. Like a madman, People would say that guy's unstable if that happened. You would never, you know what I mean? You wouldn't want that person around your kids or around, even in a building. Like somebody would call security. If you saw that video, the way he snapped and whatever, people would call security on that guy if he was in like an office building or something. Like if he was doing what he did, if he did that to like the receptionist or something. That would be like she'd call security and have him escorted out of the building. So this is being seen, and it's being covered on worldwide TV. I've seen clips from different foreign networks. They're watching this, and they know. So he begged for oil. He got turned down. Now he's tapping the strategic oil reserves so that because the corporatocracy said, we need to sell all these bright and shiny objects during the holiday season because the holiday season is our make or break it. And the economy's really in bad shape right now. So we can't have people paying $5 a gallon for gas. They say it might eventually go up to $8, at some point. Right? Because there is no solution. And so will probably get us through into till Christmas time, the buying season. These guys aren't absolute idiots, they play all kinds of games. They got to figure around. They're sitting around. The people who are running this are like sitting around figuring everything they can figure. Like I say, I've been a problem solver, over the years. So there's always, there's solutions that you can buy time, figure things out, whatever. But this is a country, not a company, where, like I say, when it's done is done, where you could do a thing and then you solve a problem and it's done is done. No, they're in basically, panic mode, right? And they're just trying to fix these are all temporary fixes. And so they'll have come up with a bunch of temporary fixes probably to see us through Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and the Christmas buying season. But if we have what looks like the long-term forecast is predicting, if we do have a cold January and February and March, by March, we're screwed. And I would suggest to you that probably will be when China goes after Taiwan. When we've basically, drained our strategic oil reserves, trying to heat the northeastern United States, the major cities, right? And you wonder, like, why Biden doesn't have the nuclear football. You see? Because he'd be like, oh, we'll just have to nuke them then if we can't fly jets, if we don't have fuel for our jets, and right. Or we'll have to attack, But there's still some wild cards in there. So I'm going to throw weird stuff out there because sometimes you think this is a conspiracy show, but it's not like those other people. I'm talking more factual with experience, some experience under my belt. Venezuela has a lot of oil, and it's close to us. And our government is definitely leaning, the same way as Venezuela from an ideological standpoint. So it's quite possible that we may, and I don't mean we as in me or any sane person, but the people running this government, the powers that be, that guy making us all dance, right? That they may strike some kind of unholy alliance with Venezuela for oil. They're in discussions already, right? With Mexico and Venezuela. They didn't want to necessarily do that for some reason. I don't know why. Probably because because the neocons and the neoliberals are kind of the same ilk, And the neocons and the neoliberals, they really don't want to align themselves with Venezuela. That's a socioeconomic, geopolitical type of thing. But, when an empire is falling and it's desperate and it's begging Russia, who it's been demonizing for the past decade or more, forever. I mean, really forever. Except for that, except under Reagan, where they find, when the wall came down and, there was like this idea of glasnost and I don't know, whatever the heck it was. I don't know. But, people have hated Russia forever for, which really was, the Cold War was just another, boogeyman, right? I mean, we had reasons to hate Stalin, but Stalin was gone, So, that's going to be an interesting scenario to see what happens. And my guess is that they're already trying to create some kind of unholy alliance with Venezuela. Because when the oil runs out in February or March and the strategic reserves are empty, and if China decides to make a play towards Taiwan, we're out. We don't have the fuel. And so the nuclear football, this administration keeps trying to say we don't want to take anything off the table. So yeah, I don't know what's going to happen there, And what are we going to do, Because as we start lowering those reserves, then they'll stabilize the price probably through the holiday buying season, so that the average person isn't pushed to the wall. Because in the past, whenever the fuel reached like $4 and it's $3.40 now, whenever it got to the 4 point, that was usually like the economy came to a screeching halt. And we're in a position right now where we have hyperinflation to begin with in a lot of areas. And then with this whole supply chain disruption, which may well be, you know, them inspecting these things because they think something's being brought. Potentially the civilization killer is in one of those containers. You know, that's really scary. So, that's why they're piled up. There's no, I mean, like I say, it's Occam's razor. You have to, when you look at everything, all the other logical reasons, there is no other reason why you would, if you have these ships and you have these containers and you have this demand and you have the truckers, then why you would not deliver the goods. And the word is they're like tediously inspecting each and every one of these little containers and just letting them go very slowly because they're looking for something. That's why there's a supply chain disruption. They're looking for something in those containers. So the intelligence has basically told them. And then you got to look, like I said yesterday, you got to look at Rand Paul's Senate hearing when he brought up this thing about the 15 thing that could kill 15 to 20 or more % of the population. And so I think they think that's in in a container or containers. Somebody came in and then they left. They don't want to hear that. See? So yeah, think about it, how crazy it is right now. Strategic oil reserves being tapped, cold winter, China, supply chain disruption, right? And then all this madness. Green screen behind a president pretending he's in the White House and he's not. Press secretary who had the juiced up is supposedly got the thing. And why wasn't she back in like 48 hours or something? Why didn't she get the kitchen sink thing like everybody? What that's available? Like what's going on, man? There's like, who's in charge? Who's running things? The powers that be, who are they? Is this country already fallen and we don't even know about it? Right? What's going on? It's crazy. Just doesn't make sense. It doesn't follow logic. Everything is illogical right now. It's really beyond, sensibility.
Good morning.
All right, man. Well, that's that. Hey, look, the Bears are back. So go to ROCKFLUX.com and click on the girl with the shopping bag. And those little squares you see are your various choices of sayings. And get them on. You can get them on a shirt, on a teddy bear, or whatever. 20% off ends today. Do it. Otherwise, buy my book. It's only $9.95 for the print edition on Amazon. And remember, this winter is going to be cold as hell. Great solar stuff. Get yourself some kind of power pack, right? And I would advise getting, the 1,000 watt. Don't worry about the solar panels. You can charge that and get it ready. And you could charge it in your car. All right, man.
Elvis has left the building.